Congratulations on taking the first step that could potentially change the rest of your life, which is pretty awesome. It takes roughly $2,000 to get your real estate license. Now don't hang up on me yet, don't shut the video down, because the good part of that, it's kind of in bite-sized chunks until you get to the very end and joining your association once you're licensed is where the biggest piece of that comes through. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. My name is Sutphin, and I'm a realtor and sales manager at Damon, Gettier and Associate Realtors-Brokered by Real. If you are interested in a career in real estate potentially, or being a showing partner on our team, continue on. So congratulations on taking the first step that could potentially change the rest of your life, which is pretty awesome. The reason we send this video out is we do get a lot of people inquiring on what it takes to become a realtor. Do you have to have a license? How much does it cost to get a license? And those kind of things. I absolutely love talking with new people about the steps that it takes to move forward in this career. And because so, my schedule tends to fill up pretty quickly. I don't want or wouldn't want people waiting a couple of weeks just to be able to figure out what does this entail, because we might miss connecting with you because you have to wait so long. And that's what was happening. My schedule was filling up with Zoom calls and phone interviews and things like that. So a video idea was the best way to get the content out as quick as we possibly can. And then you can decide whether this is something that you're interested in and you would like to move forward, and you can schedule that Zoom call with me to go over questions. Or sometimes people figure out that just really isn't for them and it's not what they thought that it was, which is fine too, but at least you don't have to wait for that content. That's why you're getting this video. We're going to go over the steps that it takes to get your real estate license, and I've got this little board here. I'll show you at the end of the video again as well. It's hard to do this backwards. Here we go. Okay, so if you'd like to take a picture, we're going to go over this content and then I'll show you the board again at the end of it. We do get a lot of questions with people asking if you have to have a license to sell real estate, and you do. There's a course that you can take. There's a couple ways you can take the course. You can do online, you can do Zoom. Sometimes they offer Zoom courses, and then not sometimes, they do in person. So your three options are online, Zoom occasionally when they offer those, and then in-person classes. It takes roughly $2,000 to get your real estate license. Now don't hang up on me yet, don't shut the video down, because the good part of that is that it's kind of in bite-sized chunks until you get to the very end and joining your association once you're licensed is where the biggest piece of that comes through. We're going to go over the steps that it takes. First would be to find a class that you connect with, whether it be online, in person, Zoom, that kind of thing. If you need recommendations, let me know. I'm actually going through a licensing course right now so I can be licensed to teach the courses. I don't have that yet. So if you need recommendations on where to take your class, just reach out. You can send me a text message. You can reply to the email. You can set up a Zoom call. We'll have a conversation, because I'm sure that this video and the next video I send are going to prompt some questions. So I'm happy to go over all of them at one time. So it's probably a good idea if you have questions to write them down, because we'll get on a Zoom and I hear people a lot say, I forgot, I have all these questions, I can't remember what they are. So just write them down so you don't forget. And if you do come on board and you go through our training program, you're going to hear me say quite frequently that I have a phenomenal memory. It just doesn't last me as long as it used to. I have to write stuff down. So I keep a note section in my phone. But anyway, that was a rabbit trail. You join your brokerage, which is the real estate company that you choose to work for, and then you start learning the good stuff. The class is going to teach you to pass the test, and that's it. We used to tell people steer clear from online because it's just not fascinating content to read. The content doesn't stick with us, and then you go take the test and it was really hard. And then they had another online version where you would get the book and you would kind of log in online, but you had to stay on that page a certain amount of time, and it was torture. Now it's completely different. A lot of the different classes, different companies that offer classes have revamped their online just a lot better. You can log in and it kind of talks you through the chapters, and it might say, for example, skip chapter 1. There's nothing on chapter 1 that you need for the exam. Go to page 2 or chapter 2, and then it'll start talking you through that, which is a little better than just reading that content and trying to memorize it and then go take a test. Occasionally they'll do Zooms, like a Zoom class, and there's one in particular that used to run, it's 2.5 weekends long. So Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, but it's interactive, much like the Zoom that we'll do if you decide to move forward in this, where you can ask questions, you can talk, it's a PowerPoint presentation, and then the next one is in person. Your in-person course, it's classroom style. Sometimes they do them during the day, sometimes they do evenings, weekends, but we can look at a schedule, and there's several different schools that we can look at at to see which one has the class that works best for you, and then where those classes are and how you would like to take those. When you take your real estate course, depending on which one you take, it's anywhere between $300 to $500, give or take a few dollars. You do have to pay for that at the time that you sign up for the class. Online is a little cheaper. I think I saw one the other day for $295. In person is $520, but then they give you a little bit of a discount. So it still kind of fits in between that $300 to $500 price range. So you pay for your class, and then your class, however long it is, depends on which one you do. If you do in person, they run them now for a week. Sometimes they're Monday through Thursday, Tuesday through Friday. So really it's 4 days, not a week. But if you do online, it's at your own pace. So maybe a month. That's kind of long, but maybe a month if you're really busy. So $300 to $500. When you pass your class, you have to take what we call a mock state and national test. There's actually a state and national test that you take to pass the course to be able to move forward to take the real state and national exam. The state and national exam, the two closest facilities to do that, I believe, are Roanoke and Richmond. So if you're coming from New River Valley, Lynchburg, Martinsville area, Southwest Virginia, Roanoke is going to be your closest spot to take that, and it's down next to Tanglewood area. They have a building down there. When you take your mock state and national to pass for the class, it takes 24 or 48 hours. When you pass that, they send you an email that allows you to then register for your state and your national at a PSI facility. That state and national exam is $60. So that's the next fee that comes to move forward in this process. For the state and the national, $60. It doesn't matter how many times you take it. If you, let's say you go and you bomb both of them, you don't pass either one of them, it's really not a big deal. People put a lot of pressure on themselves to pass the state and the national. You know, we all want to pass, but if you don't pass it, no one knows except for you and the testing facility. Your brokerage doesn't know how many times you had to take it. We don't care. What is for you to pass it, and then, because again, they teach you to pass a test, and then you join your brokerage and you learn all about real estate, what to do, what not to do, how to sell houses, and that kind of stuff. A whole lot more, but if you pass let's say you pass your state and you miss your national and you go back, it's $60 again each time you take it. They don't split it in half. The okay part, I guess the good part, if you don't pass, they tell you what sections you missed so that you know what sections to study when you go back to take it again. My suggestion is when you pass your class, schedule your state and your national right away. Life has a way of getting in the way sometimes, and what I see a lot of people do is they come out of the class not feeling confident enough to take a state and a national test. So they want to study, they don't get to study, work got busy, kids got sick, life gets in the way, we get sick, and then again, it's not the most fascinating content, so it tends to not stick with us very long. Let me know if you have any questions. Zoe is a lady that helps me with interviews and Zoom calls and scheduling and onboarding and all that kind of good stuff. You'll probably get an email from her. You probably get these videos actually from her. But reach out to her, reply to the email, text. I think my cell phone number is in the email, 540-223-9550. So send me a text message. We'll set up a Zoom call and we'll go over any questions that you have. If you need help choosing a class, let me know. If we've got the courses running here when you watch this video, I'll let you know. If not, we'll help you figure out which course works best for you. And then I'm also going to send you another video on why would you choose DGA? Like, what do we do different? Because we're different than any other agency in the Valley that you're going to find. But I'll send a separate video. If you know where you're going, you're certainly welcome to still reach out and ask questions about the process and getting through the process and stuff like that. And then just let me know if you have any questions. I hope to hear from you soon. Good luck.